Hi, my name is James Shepard, and in today's video I want to talk to you about my 3 top closing techniques. Now, I've made a lot of videos about our marketing platform and how cool the technology is, but there's a big downside to that. The big downside is a lot of salespeople are kind of getting distracted with all the technology and all the toys, and they're kind of sitting back like, well, I'm just going to sit here and James is going to start sending me leads, and these people are just going to, fall down and worship me and say, what must I do to buy merchant services? No, sorry, it doesn't work like that. Somebody still has to make the sale. Somebody still has to go close the deal. Now, is our technology great? Absolutely. But our technology doesn't really do you any good if you're not working and you're not out in the field and if you don't know how to sell. I tell a lot of salespeople that when they call me with questions, a lot of times it's like they're in a car sitting in a parking lot and they're like, man, I can't steer the car. I just can't, I'm trying to make sure I have it steered exactly right. What difference does it make? You're sitting in a parking lot. You got to push the gas pedal. You can't steer the car until you're making something happen. So if you're sitting at home watching soap operas, well, right now you're watching me, okay? So if you're sitting at home and it's the middle of the workday and you're watching this video, let me give you a tip. Go sell, okay? That's how you actually make money, is you have to go make something happen, all right? So let's leave the marketing platform behind now for a few weeks. And I know you're still interested in it. That's great. You can go to ccsalespro.com/platform, ccsalespro.com/platform, or if you want to sign up for the lead credits, go to ccsalespro.com/leads. But now I want to talk to you about, okay, now you've got the marketing platform. Now how do you go close these sales? Let me give you my 3 top tips or techniques for closing sales. Number one on my list is the assumptive close. The assumptive close, also some people call it the paperwork close. The assumptive close or the paperwork close. So let's back up for a second and think about where we're at in the sales process. So let's say you already went in, you met with the person, they gave you a copy of their credit card statement, and hopefully they also gave you their email address. So now you've been back at your office, you sent it in to statement analysis, they sent back a cost analysis to you. This prospect, because you're on the marketing platform, they've gotten 3 or 4 emails from me about, Apple Pay or how to save money on merchant services or whatever different lead nurturing stuff they've gotten. And you see that they've opened some emails and read some articles and stuff. So you feel pretty confident now. You're going back in to present. So you now are going to walk back in, you're going to present the analysis, and you get to the end. And you show them the savings, you've gone through everything line by line with them, and now you're ready to close the sale. How do you do it? The most effective way that I've personally found is not to really even close at all, but just to assume that they're going to buy from you. And the way that looks is, you just make a really smooth transition. You're showing them the analysis and you say, Mr. Jones, thank you so much for taking time to look at all this information today. Are there any questions that you have for me? And this gives them one last opportunity to voice any objections they have or any concerns or questions. Once they say, no, I think you explained everything pretty well, then I say, okay, great, let me get some basic information from you. So let me say that again. I say, great, let me get some basic information from you. Pull out your application, start at the top and say, how do you spell your last name? Put their last name on, right? Then you put their first name. And then you say, what's the actual physical address here at this location? Once you get them to give you 2 or 3 pieces of information like that, you know that they're ready to move forward and they're going to continue with the application. If they're not ready, they'll tell you. And they'll say, well, hold on, before I give you that, right? And now I do have one other question. You're going to hear objections like that. That's fine. Answer their question and then get right back to it and say, okay, now how did you say you spell your last name? And just keep going right back to the paperwork. That's my most effective closing technique. Number 2, my second most effective closing technique, I use this when I feel like I don't really have them just yet, all right? I don't have them just yet. Then the closing technique I like to use there is I like to use the permission close. I got this one from Brian Tracy, I think. And what I do is I have paperwork out there. And I say, Brian, I think I've answered all the questions that you had. First of all, are there any other questions that you have for me? And he says, no, I think you answered all my questions. Say, great. With your permission, I'd like to go ahead and get some of the paperwork processed today so that I can start serving your needs. Now, the temptation there is to say something else, to really, close the sale. And how can you do that? You got to close the sale. No, that actually pushes people away a lot of times to add something to that. Just say, with your permission, I'd like to go ahead and get the paperwork completed so I can begin to serve your business. and then be quiet. Now, to pull off the permission close, you got to be quiet. You got to be silent. It's also kind of the silent close. Once you're done with your statement, just stop. Many times they'll stop and they'll look at you for a second, and then maybe they'll look up and okay, yeah, let's go ahead and give this a shot. That's usually the response you're going to get. But if you cut them off and don't let them be quiet and think for a second, they're going to say no. So you got to do the permission close followed by silence. All right? Now, the third closing technique that I will give you today is one that I learned from a sales rep in another industry that makes hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. And he just has a really simple question. And he said what happens is if he gets into a situation where he just has no idea where he's at. In other words, is this person going to buy from me? Are they interested? Are they not interested? Like, I don't know where I'm at in the sales process here. So you can't really do the assumptive close because that could come off wrong. The permission close, they might say no, so you don't want to use that. So instead, what he says is a really simple question. He says, Bill, I think I've answered all your questions today. Have I earned your business? Now, it sounds a little cheesy, but I'm telling you, it really, really works. Try it today in the field. I think you're going to like it. You just say, Brian, I think I've answered all your questions today. I know this is going to be a great deal. I really want to do business with you, but let me ask you, have I earned your business? And that's a great question. Many times, they'll have a hard time saying no to that. That's a great closing question. So there's your 3 closing techniques. Use the assumptive close when you know that you're moving forward and it looks like they're pretty interested. Use the assumptive close and just move forward as if they already said yes and just get their information on the paperwork. Use the permission close when you feel pretty good about it. You're like, yeah, I think I got this one, but I'm not 100% real confident here, so I'm going to use the permission close just to make sure it's kind of that extra little edge of getting their permission first. And then third, if you just don't know where you're at and you're like, I just need to close this sale, just say, I think I've answered all your questions today. I know this is going to be a great deal for your business. Have I earned your business? And just ask that simple question, have I earned your business, at the end of a closing statement, and you're going to find out a lot of people are going to tell you yes. My name is James Shepard. Thanks for watching. I hope you use these techniques to make a sale in the field right now.